I'm also looking at three other players that I think are very, very good value. And I think it's Skoranek is your wide
Yes.
receiver 5 or 6 because he's a million and a half. A Landon Roberts, I just think he's not an every down guy, but I think he is very, very valuable.
It's a thumper.
You know, he's a thumper. You could probably get him
Yeah.
for 3 to 4 million a year, and he's also, depth. And
Yes.
then Jalen Warren, the tender is going to be about 6 to 7 million, but you do it for 1 year, and I think you basically add to that in the draft with a couple players that I have my eyes on for that to kind of create a new explosive type offense. And then I believe you could still see somebody like Smith, who they brought in from Green Bay, but he's going to get released at 13.4 million savings
Yeah.
and no dead cap. You could bring him back on a lower end deal just to add some depth. But
Yeah.
I think if you take those handful of moves, everybody else walks. Maybe they come back, but they're at least going to walk and see what they can do. Is there anybody else that I missed that you have any thoughts on? Whether you're like, we got to keep this player or this guy's going.
No.
You know,
No, really. The free agents, I don't really see anybody that we're going to be looking to re-sign per se, with the exception
with
of
our own within our own
uh,
roster, yeah, yeah.
yeah, with it, yeah. But like the Najee Harrises of the world, no. And let me also add that I feel like he will do better in another situation. I just don't
So
think
do I.
it's this is the I don't think this is the right situation, and he's not the right player that we need on the offensive side. We need people who can score touchdowns from anywhere on the field. You need
Mm-hmm.
explosion. We don't have explosion with the exception of George Pickens, who everybody and their mama wants to now trade, which is so bizarre to me because you just don't get rid of talent like that. And me, again, from a coaching perspective, I'm like, oh hell no, I ain't giving up on this dude. Are you kidding me?
No, you know what you do? You get him a vet that can teach him the ropes.
Amen. Amen. That's exactly
So
what you do.
since we're in agreement with some of the roster things, and again, obviously things could pop up. We could have different thoughts later
Sure.
on.
Sure.
I'm making two moves in free agency,
Yep.
okay? Because after watching that Super Bowl, I got some draft targets at the top of the draft.
Yeah.
I'm making a play for a veteran wide receiver.
Yep.
I do think one of the failures last year was not getting a legit wide receiver too. I
100%.
do think Mike Williams was severely underutilized.
Yep.
However, he's not the guy I think that would teach Pickens. Can you make a trade for Cooper Cup? I like
Yeah.
that trade. I like what
Yeah.
he is as far as a professional.
Yep.
And as you know, there's like 700 wide receivers mocked to the Steelers right now and perfect fits. I looked up Debo Samuel because that's been coming around lately, right? There's rumors that he wants to come to Pittsburgh. If
Yes.
that's the case,
Yes.
come on. He's a $15.8 million cap hit.
Yep.
As we've said, they got 40 to 41 million. Smith is gone. There's 13 million. They got the room.
We got room for days.
He has two voidable years at 26 and 27,
Yeah.
which is about $8.5 million dead cap. But I think if he comes here, you might see him with like a little bit of an extension, maybe
Yep.
finishes his career here. And this is another thing I don't like about our fans. They're setting themselves up for failure for another bitch
Yep.
session. I don't think we're going to get T Higgins. I think he's going to get priced out of Pittsburgh. He's going to be one of those.
Absolutely.
He's one of those guys that's going to get the 27 to 28 to 30 million dollars a year. Talent wise, at 25 to 26 million, yes, I want him here.
Yeah.
I'm not paying that much more for him because I think there are better options. And like you said this last offseason, if they overpay for T Higgins,
Yeah.
that's going to tell you what they think about George Pickens.
Yeah. Just like with Ayuk. Yeah. I
Yeah,
said
just
that
about
earlier.
you.
100%. 100%.
I also
Yep.
could see someone like, again, I think it's Cooper Cup and Debo Samuels because I think not only are they good players,
Yeah.
they can actually, I think, bring out more in Pickens. And then you have someone, the wild card, who was almost, I don't know how almost, and they were kind of looking at him, having a look-see last year, was Darius Slayton. Are you going to pay 16, 15, $16 million for Darius Slayton?
I would.
Very well could. And a wild card. Oh, fuzzy. And then a wild card in all of this is he's a free agency, but I just don't see him leaving. Is Chris Godwin to Tampa?
Yeah.
He's coming off of $20 million years annually.
Yes.
We have two smaller guys, and we'll see what Wilson does if he's healthy.
Yes.
That can stretch the field. Skronik, he's here for special teams. Pickens is your wild card, but he's not he's like a feast or famine guy.
Yep.
I want a chain mover, and that could be Godwin, Cooper Kupp, possibly Slayton. Though Slayton's really a really good deep threat. But what are your thoughts on that wide receiver core? Or is there somebody I'm missing?
Yeah, I am in complete agreement with you on the wide receiver choices. Personally, I would love to have Deebo Samuel pair with George Pickens and Roman Wilson, and because I just feel like that reminds me a lot of you remember when we had, or when the Cardinals had Kurt Warner, and then they had Anquan Bolden, they had Larry Fitz, you know what I mean? They had Steve Preston, you know what I'm saying? Like, and LaRod Stevens Howling, you know, right? They had that. Like, that reminds me a lot of that type of dynamic where you have like your big boy receiver, you have your Swiss Army knife guy, and I think that they thought that Cordarrelle Patterson could be that, but I think he's just a little too long in the tooth. You know, maybe 4 years ago he might have been that dude, but it's not the case. So, and considering what Arthur Smith likes to do with his receivers, and have like that type of guy that you can make a hybrid, and you can put him in the backfield, you can put him, you know, you can make him keep him as a receiver. You know, there's so many different things that you can do with him. I think that's the perfect mix between your explosion guy, your Swiss Army guy, and then you got two, human joysticks that you can get open. The one I think that even helps our tight ends, because neither one of them, well, Washington can get a little yak, but your boy Freiermuth, no yak Freiermuth, that helps them out too. That helps them out too.
They call him Yakless.
Yeah, Yakless and the Burgh.
I like that because, again, I'm with you, and that's why I think Kupp and Deebo, though Deebo's obviously a little more athletic, a little more diverse, because Kupp's just had injuries. But before injuries, Kupp was a monster.
Yes.
So I like that because they kind of solidify that. Now, if they don't get him, then I would like to go after someone like, Igbuka from Ohio State, because I think he's a younger version of that.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So that's that big physical guy. I know I've said I want, Matthew Golden from Texas, but I have a sneaky suspicion he's going to be like a top 15 guy. And receivers are going to move up. You got Luther Burden from Missouri.
Missouri, love that.
Yeah, dude. Missouri, and then I think there's that Arizona kid.
McMillan
or something.
Yeah.
He's really good. I do think, really, depending on who's picking, those are all going to be they could be some top 15 guys. I think Igbuka could probably fall a little bit because he's not super flashy, but he is that chain mover that I think that we do need.
Yes.
The other big splash I want your opinion on, because, again, I would love to see a vet back there to pair with Joey Porter, again, to kind of show him the ropes a little bit too. But I don't want to go obviously too old.
I think I know where you're going with this.
I'm looking at two guys, and it's really who do you want to pay? And I'm looking at the market value.
Yep.
And I wanted them in the draft. Asante Samuel Jr.
I knew you was going to say that, because I'm right with you, bro.
15, 16, $7 million a year.
I knew you was going to say that.
Absolutely, because perfect. I think he is going to be somebody that he's in his fourth year. He's still very young.
Perfect.
And I think that he is somebody that I think can still grow. And the other guy I was thinking of was I have it written, is Byron Murphy from the Vikings as a free agent.
He's a little bit older though, right?
A little bit older, but so a little bit
29?
better. He's in his late 20s.
Yeah.
His market value they're saying is 22 million, and I think that's a little bit too much for a corner, considering you think you have a cornerback one
Yeah.
with Porter, but I think pairing him with Asante Samuel Jr. I think would solidify that secondary. And now maybe
So
another guy you bring back is Kazee as well too, but I would go.
yeah.
I'd make a splash at corner and receiver in free agency. What say you?
So you and I, you know, haven't even discussed this because we don't have production meetings. But Joey Porter Jr., I think we put too much on him
Mm-hmm.
that second year, making like thinking he was going to be like automatic lockdown, and I think that that sophomore season we kind of saw a couple warts, which is okay because that's part of the growth process. Doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean he's going to be terrible. It just means that you have to
Yeah,
grow, right? Um, I think it's much better if you want to be, and what do we talk about? The run it back, right? You want to run it back with the right pieces. So if you really want to make a splash and you know that you're going to be here and you still want to win a Super Bowl, then you do go after an Asante Samuel,
yeah,
uh, because not only does that help your team this year, but that helps your team for the next few years, and it solidifies that backfield. That and you got him and Trice and JPJ working together. Them three avatars working together. Hey, listen, that's a whole different because you could. I have a feeling that Trice is going to end up um, moving into like that hybrid uh,
Did you
s-
see
as well. I think he's going to be that hybrid, D back, anyways, when it's all said and done. So I think
somebody on the Twitters last 2 weeks ago? They would put Corey Trice at the slot corner.
no, not the slot corner. No,
That's when
that
you're just making shit up. Like, you know what? He's on the thing. He just be a slot corner. Like, no,
yeah,
realizing that he
not
is
the
not built to be a slot corner.
no,
I'm like,
no.
that's one like I walked away from that Twitter's argument. I'm like, there's no way.
But he could be a
No,
hybrid. He could be a hybrid D back, safety,
correct.
corner. He could do that.
He's not a man-to-man guy, but he could be because of his length. He could be a very
Cause
good
that
zone
length,
based
bro,
corner. Yes,
100%, dude,
zone
100%.
100%. You could
And then
run
you got
really
all
good.
that length like, cause Sam was what 6'1",
Yeah,
6'1", and
yes,
then
yeah, yeah,
JPJ, he's an avatar already. You got Trice as an avatar, bro. And then that makes Minka even better
yeah.
too. And Deshaun, oh my god, and Deshaun Elliott, good lord,
Right.
yeah, that's the make it happen, Omar.